Good morning. Welcome to another episode of Bubba's Tango 18. I'm Bubba, and this is our build. Today on this episode, we're going to work on gluing in and resining and fiberglassing this watertight bow area. We're also going to work on the forward part of our floorboard that we worked on. On YouTube, we had a recommendation to add in some stringers. Now, because I've already glued this down, I really wasn't thinking about it. I was just following the directions of the designer. We're not putting a center console in right here. I have not cut this piece out. This essentially is going to be totally watertight in itself. But because I moved the entire transom back, I cut this board first, and I didn't allow for the excess that I moved some things back. So that was my faux pas instead of having this come all the way back. But it gives me access, and I think I'm going to I have some wood that we cut out from the shape of the V-bottom for the cradle. That cradle shape should be the exact same as this. I think I'm going to take that piece of okume that I cut out and see how it fits in here. So there's a void. Oh, let's go down here. I don't know if you can see. There's a void right there. And I'm thinking I can sand and glue in a piece to give some rigidity right there. Not that it really matters, so I may or may not, because I've got the rigidity of the glued in bench sheets. Before we get started gluing this in, I do have to make an adjustment up here on the bow and on the bow seat. I have a new scribe line that I want to cut and try and draw this piece up further into the bow. So we have a lot going on up here today. I'm going to go ahead and put a fillet up here as well as some fiberglass and get that joined together with our forward bulkhead. Make this all watertight as well. Well, it's already watertight forward of the bulkhead. Then we're going to work on not dropping stuff down onto the bench. We're going to work on bringing this up tighter. Right now, I'm favoring the starboard side a little bit. I put a new scribe line over here. I want to jigsaw that out, see if we can draw this up and over that way just a little bit more before we put a fillet in here, balance this out. So that's what we're going to do and work on today. I went ahead and cut this top piece off camera, did a little fit up. Do a light sand, regular sand, 60 grit across here. I've got lines marked out where that's going to go. So I'm going to sand, and a little bit higher for when I go ahead and fiberglass it. Get this bad boy ready. 60 grit on the DA, as normal. And whatever your favorite prep is. Excuse me. Going to mix up 250 milliliters of thickened epoxy. We're going to spread it across here first. I'm going to take that piece and set it in place, I believe, and then come back and push or fill in after I have that set at the right elevation instead of trying to jerk it around and whatnot. I believe once I set it on here, I can just tap this down until I have a mark on there of where it needs to go down to be exact. Then I can come back through and take my piping bag, fill in the gaps, do a nice fillet on there, and then after it, after it hardens a little bit, tacks up, then I'll come back with my, before it dries, so I don't have to sand it, come back with my glass cloth tape, and we will tape all those edges up. That's the game plan. I'm going to time lapse this as normal. Alright, piping bag, here we go. I'll run a bead right across the top here. Set this in place. The other thing I was thinking about doing was running just a piece of tape across the bottom of this so that my thickened epoxy doesn't fall through. But I didn't do that. Hold that thought. Not sure how well this thought process is going to work, but fix one issue with another. Some days you're just not the sharpest tool in the shed. I'm going to leave this in the video just so you all can see how stupid I am. Alright, I didn't look so stupid right there, but alright, I'm mixing up my second batch of resin. I'm going to thicken this up. And then hopefully do a nice fillet. Use the rest of it. Got a couple of gaps in here I need to fill up now that it's, my first pass is in there, maybe a little tight. I made some mistakes, I ain't gonna lie, but
Alright, that turned out to be a pretty nice fillet. See if I can reach down here and do that one as well. Let me go to the other side.
So let me talk a minute about this. Let me talk a minute about what I've done here. For whatever reason, my thickened epoxy fillets kept sucking down in through the gaps there. Looks good now, I think, but I want to explain the ratchet strap. So I noticed that it was sucking down through. In the previous picture, we tightened up we scribed new lines, tightened up the gaps, but still it kept sucking down through. When I cut the hole in this, I'll have to see underneath what it looks like. I would imagine I have big globs of resin going down inside there. And I should have probably already cut a hole in here. Alright, so back to the ratchet strap. So I thought that the best idea was to how to pull this. First I thought using, I can put a bunch of these clamps together, reach across. And I was like, let me just grab a ratchet strap. Put a ratchet strap on there, it started sliding, so then I was forced to put in 2 screws. So I screwed those drywall screws in. It kept that from sliding as I tightened it, and I was able to pull those halves together, which will also should make it even better bond in here, I hope. That's the game plan. I thought I'd explain that. Thanks for watching.